Okay, hi everyone. Is my voice audible to all of you? Can I have a quick yes or no in the chat box, please? Okay, great. Thank you so much. So welcome to today's webinar on CI automation using Terraform. My name is Neha and I'm community manager at Whizlabs. So I would like to introduce our panelists for today. We have two speakers today, Mehul Sharma, who is a senior DevOps consultant at OpsTree Solutions. Apart from being an Azure developer community organizer, he is also an open source contributor for Azure Terraform modules and Ansible. And then we have Aastha Rai, who is also a DevOps specialist at OpsTree Solutions. She's an active open source contributor for the Jenkins plugin, and she loves to explore the latest DevOps practices. And being a tech enthusiast, she loves to share her knowledge by conducting training sessions like today. So yes, thank you so much for joining us today. Then we also have Mayank with us, who is from the products team at Whizlabs, and he'll also be answering a couple of questions for you today. Now, for this whole session, you have this Q&A section, which is there in the footer of your Zoom screen right now. So feel free to bombard the Q&A section with all your questions today, and we would love to answer them all. So yes, over to you, Mehul and Aastha. All the best for today's session.
Thank you so much. So hello everyone, Mehul this side. Basically, today we'll be talking about the session like automation using CI on like how can we achieve the CI entire CI process using Terraform and other CI tools as well. So let me share my screen first, and so that we can continue with the session. So yeah, please let me know in the chat box if my screen is visible or not, so that I can be sure. Okay, thank you. Okay, so let me open this thing with the slides. Okay. So like as everybody like we are already talking about it, the topic of the topic like the today's session. So yes, this is like everybody know like how can I achieve the automation or the CI automation on the Terraform, like when I'm using a code of Terraform. So first, before going to that, I'd love to talk like I would would like to take this opportunity to talk about myself, like exactly who am I if I talk if I mention as like I am working as a DevOps consultant with OpsTree Solutions, and like I have been working on multiple projects, you can say. And if I talk about the tools, those I've been using, so a lot of DevOps tools like we have been trying to use on different clients and different practices that we try to follow. And recently, I have become the Azure Developer Community Organizer, and I also have like I'm also there working as a speaker as well. So this is just a community workload. So definitely for the knowledge sharing. And if other than this, if I talk about what we are doing for the community, so yes, like with other members of in my team in OpsTree, we have been writing a Terraform modules on Azure. So basically, in which what we do, so we are trying to help the community. So whatever we are resources we are using, or whatever organizations those we have as a client for the infrastructure building. So their infrastructure we are building using our Terraform codes, and we are publishing them for the outer world users as well. So yes, this is what we are doing. And other than this, like this is what that I'm doing currently. Like I love to provide trainings and the workshops that on knowledge sharing sessions whenever I get this opportunity. So this is what we are doing, like on a different topics on the DevOps. And like if I talk about on this experience, I have got the opportunity to talk earlier also with the Whizlabs and HashiCorp Talk India event also, we have talked about it. So this is about me, if I say. And now, Aastha, would you like to give your small introduction on?
Yeah, thanks, Mehul. Sure. So I'm co-worker of Mehul, a DevOps specialist at OpsTree itself. So we their practice on, as Mehul mentioned, on lot of DevOps tools. We currently I'm working on Jenkins plugin, a open source as a open source contributor. I also provide training like I'm doing here, and I love to do this. So that sum up my summary. Thanks, Mehul. We can move
Thank
ahead with
you.
the agenda.
Yeah, thank you, Asta. So, if I talk about today's agenda, what all things we are going to cover today is like, for example, so actually we are expecting, everybody, like people are joining from a different background, right? So we are expecting some of them will be having idea on Terraform, and few of them will not be having like not that much idea. So what we will do for the beginning, we'll be talking about why or what exactly Terraform is required to us, like what all are the benefits that Terraform is provide, putting on the table. And after that we'll be discussing about what exactly is the CI. So I know a lot of people will be already knowing about it, so I would love the interaction or the comments, and that definitely you all can share your knowledge on CI. And after that we'll be discussing about why exactly CI is required on the Terraform. And then once like we'll be we all agree on why exactly it is required, then we'll be talking about like what all stages you can add or one should add at least on the CI pipeline when they are creating for the infrastructure management, or like if I talk about the specific to with the Terraform. And after that we can talk about in the CI what all things I can add, validate, formatting, linting, security, planning. Or after that, like yeah, we will be discussing about compliance, right? And multiple tools that we have recently, like we'll be discussing about the tools as well. So this is all about agenda today. And there is one more request from our side is like please try, like as we know, like you are not, like we cannot it cannot be like you cannot talk like in between, but definitely we would love like if you can try to make this session interactive. So try to ask as much as questions is possible. So definitely we'll try to answer all of them. And if in case you have any suggestions on like for example, if we are talking about any specific topic, and if you have already worked on it, so definitely we would really appreciate if you can share your experience as well on the chat box, because that will definitely help us to understand your scenario, and for others also they will definitely be understanding. So I hope till here everyone is clear with every point, right? So again, I'm not able to see the chat box. I'm expecting yes. And so now I would love move over to the Astha. So Astha, would you like to continue from here?
Sure, Mehul. So moving on to our very first topic, why Terraform? So before moving on it, what's Terraform? In the words of Hershey Corp, as the official website say, it's a infrastructure as code. What does we provision with it? We have many infrastructure going around. Like in today's world, we have Azure, AWS, Google, Google infrastructure, Google Cloud going around. So this Terraform help us to build infrastructure for code for all those platforms. What does the exact steps are? Build, changes, version, and applying those changes to the infrastructure safely and efficiently. So as the prerequisite of training is to have a scenario with the Terraform. So hope you have a happy moment of that with the Terraform earlier and have a happy experience with it. We'd like to know some of those experience in the chat. So later we can explore it once we are done with why Terraform. Moving on to the next slide. Why we are exactly using Terraform? Oh, this is an interesting guy. So you can see this guy giving high five to himself. He's like a person who is very involved in himself, giving himself high five, self-sufficient person. So you have seen most of the teams which are working in corporates, the development teams, do have a small people or a less number of cis people working with them. What does this do? This increases the workload on them. So now take a scenario. Now you have a testing team. They want infrastructure on your they want an infrastructure. They want it for a short period of time. They ask their they went to their sys admins. Okay, can you guys please configure a infrastructure for such a testing scenario? Your sys admins does that. Now They have demolished the infrastructure after that hour's time. Now, Terraform now testing team again wants that infrastructure. What does they do? They will again go to the sys guy. Doesn't this frustrate the sys guys? So what does this guy wants here? To make the tester or other teams self-sufficient. And they also want to reduce the cost on the infrastructure provisioning side. So what they will ask us, okay, this much amount of access to the infrastructure provisioning is enough for you, that they will settle on their side, and they will make their tester or developers self-sufficient to bring up or provision a small infrastructure for their testing or development. So moving forward to the next slide, hope the scenario is very clear to you, and we can use this in our day word as well. Moving
So,
into the next slide.
sorry to interrupt you. Actually, I would like to add one scenario in this. So, for example, as Asta was saying on this topic. So recently, if I talk about my scenario, so recently we got one opportunity, or you can say like one requirement from our client. Like we are trying to build a new entire environment. So there are two possibilities, right? So one is like if we are doing the manual work, or let's say any not doing any kind of automation. So what we will do, so we have to prepare entire thing again. Let's say my test environment has 50 servers, right? So it means I have to again create a 50 servers, and I have to maintain every tag and everything, right? But what Terraform brings us when on that scenario is I just need to change the values. For example, I'm using a tag for example, like let's say I already have a dev1 environment. So I'm using a tag, let's say a dev1, and then the service name. So now if I need to create a dev2, so what I have to do, I just need to go inside one very like in the variable file, or let's say I'm using a tf vars file, and then I just have to change the value. So I need not to worry about creating entire infrastructure by myself, because Terraform is self sufficient to taking care of everything, right? So just wanted to relate some more on that. So yes, can we move to the next slide, Asta,
Yeah,
please?
sure. Thanks, Mehul. Thanks for the scenario. Very nice scenario. Moving with speed and safety, how does this ensures that? Now, take it on a very small scale. You have to provision a virtual machine on your in your infrastructure. What you will do? You will go on to your GUI, whether it be Azure, AWS, or any of them, and you will make some clicks, put some variables, and your EC2 machines will be there. Now think of a scenario, you have to provision such like 100 VP2 instance virtual machine. That can be a scenario, or you might need more than that. And what will you do? You will each time go to into a GUI and do everything? No. And there is a risk also. You might misspell a variable, or you might have selected a long check, or you forget to just click on a check. So that can affect the whole infrastructure. What does this Terraform bring us? It brings us speed and safety. So once you have your whole code written into your onto your paper, you can go one on through the whole code and decide what can be your variable name, what checks you have to be there, and what checks should not be there. And of course, when you're typing and you doing GUI clicks, you're much slower than a speed of computer. So thus Terraform safely with speed deploy or provision your whole infrastructure in just gesture of seconds. Moving on to the next scenario. Okay, very interesting picture. So this is what we have seen coders using it, isn't it? Version control. We have seen every coder around the world pushing their code to a version control system. Now we have a code as infrastructure as a code, so it should be on the version control. And we are not going to pass like folders and among us, of course. So once we have our whole Terraform on the version control system, we can just take all the good things of version control system, version control uh, into our um, into our scenario as well. For example, if you are like you are trying to enhance your infrastructure and you have add a new module, or you have make some changes, like a slight changes into your existing module, and you try to move forward with it, what will happen? It will either go forward or it doesn't move forward. If it goes forward, yeah, a thumbs up. We can have that code. We can move forward with that code in the upcoming scenario. What happens if it doesn't move forward? You want to delete everything and you want to remember every step you have taken around? Of course not. What you will do, you will just, okay, let's move a commit back, or the number of commits back on which we have like a perfect code, the running code which I wanted to be there. So we will revert the code and we will have the actual good code with us, which can be easily deployed again. And also, now think of a scenario where you have a basic module, and you have been basic versioning infrastructure, and you have been developing around it, above it. Now you need only that basic infrastructure to be provisioned, not the enlarged setup. So you can also take out that previous commit and just deploy that commit to provision the infrastructure, rather than going on to the whole provisioning and going through the whole provisioning and then cutting out the changes which you want. So thus it makes us easier to manage your code. This is like a code management. Moving on to the next. Okay, this is like a happy moment when we get all the validations runs, all the validation done and we pass through the gates. Very happy. So we always want this happy moment in our life when we are doing coding, that in one go, when we do something, we take some step, it moves forward. So yeah, Terraform have this step validation, as mentioned, as in earlier slide we have seen, that if a code validates, I move forward. If I don't move forward, I can just revert the code. So this is like an automated pass. We can also, Terraform also allows us to test these cases, to we have static analysis tools around it, which can, reduce significantly, which can detect our anomalies and reduce the chances of defect to a great number. And thus moving on to the next. Reusability. Mehul mentioned a scenario before, that they have a scenario where they have to provision multiple infrastructure for the same team, but with the different variable. For example, you need a prod infrastructure, and you also need a pre-prod infrastructure, then also a staging infrastructure. Now the thing is, generally the dev infrastructure is a low infrastructure in comparison to prod and pre-prod infrastructure. But pre-prod infrastructure is like a exact copy to the prod infrastructure. Are you going to write a whole pre-prod infrastructure and then look into the whole scenario and then write the pre-prod infrastructure? Of course not. So reusability is like what we have already built, we have already documented, we have tested it out, like a better tested pieces of the code which have been already in the use, and we are using it going forward. This enhances our capability, and thus allow us to do many other things rather than just writing the same code of same piece of code again and again. Also, we have like Terraform registry, where you can use all where you can find all the written modules which have been already written for you, and you can search over there and you can use them as well. So uh, this is like increase your capability, to enhance your capability to think something new and bring up something new, rather than working on the same circle which have been going around in your company for a long time. Moving on to the next, which is, this is like a very least scenario. We never seen people appreciating this, but what does Terraform bring at last is happiness. um, you know that we as an infrastructure, the person who will manage the infrastructure is never have a pat on the back till there is no creativity, till you have all the infrastructure going well, all the developments going well, no one will appreciate you. But think of a day when there is a something goes wrong, and all the thing goes mess up, and it creates a lack of stressful and unpleasant environment for you. And that's around the infrastructure, and it's very hard without Terraform to look into the whole infrastructure and pinpoint what has went wrong if you haven't done it by a Terraform, whether it be a small security group name false or any other false, but it's very hard to pinpoint. So this Terraform make us easy to pinpoint our errors, and thus making us happy. Now, as I stated earlier, we'll like to see some of the cases in the chats where Terraform have made the teams happy, and uh, thus also continuing to make the team happy. Do we have something in the chat? Okay, I have to switch into other screen to see the chat. Okay, I don't think people like to interact. Okay, let's move to Mehul for our much appreciated part like CI automation, which we always look into.
Yep, thank you so much, Asta. So yes, we like definitely you should try. If we missed anything that you have in your mind, definitely you should add why exactly we use the Terraform, other than these things that we have already covered. But yes, now the question comes: what exactly is the CI? So if you see this image, so basically what you are seeing, so what exactly is happening here is like there is this is a conveyor belt, you can say. So basically what is happening, people are going from right hand side, and in the right hand side they are coming as a, like you can say, how I'm seeing these images, like they are coming as groomed, or you can say well dressed and everything, like only the like best people are coming out of the everything. And inside, in between, if I talk about like exactly what is happening in this, so this is CI as per me. So if I take the example of this with my scenario on the CI is so definitely you can say like on one hand side, or let's say in the right hand side, there is a code repository, or you can say the application code, and in the right hand side there is a artifactory, and whatever is happening in between, whatever the black box is happening, like whatever happening inside it, is the process that we can consider as a CI. So I hope this thing is making sense to every one of you, because this is something on which we'll be building our entire concept today. So so if I want, if I would take this a much further manner. So for example, let me open something so on which we can discuss this. So for example, like as I just mentioned, so this is the black box, let's say, and in the left hand side I'd say this is the code or application code, I can say. Okay, and in the right hand side you can say store artifact, where we, right? So in between, whatever is happening will consider as a CI. Okay, so again I would like to mention, like for our scenario, like what we have understood from that long time, I'd say, like working on the CI pipelines or on a different projects. So there cannot be a correct definition. I'd say like there can be a definitions that can help you to achieve the CI, but there cannot be a correct, like you cannot say like this specific definition or these specific stages are the correct to add, or these cannot be it totally depends on your use case, and the definitely next important thing is the budget that your client is having. But if I'll say the bare minimum, or let's say the minimum, the like at least things that should be available in your CI is like, if now we are talking about at the code level, right? So in the code level, what I'll say, So first thing you can say, whenever your code, somebody is pushing the code, or it could be anything on as per your requirement, and let's say your pipeline is getting triggered. So if I am calling it a CI pipeline, so what exactly is happening here? So first thing you can say, we are building the code. Just taking an example here, or you can say first thing will be the code checkout wherever it is running, right? So okay. So next thing could be, let me fix this. Next thing is, you can say, is a building a code, right? So let's say I build the code, but like I'm taking an example. For example, for now we can say it is a Maven application. Okay, for now. And after that, let's say I'll perform the test cases, right? I'll check like if it is testing is working proper, like unit test case or whatever it could be, right? So let's say testing, and the end step will be generating artifact. I hope everyone is agreeing with me on this point. If no, or you have, like, I'd definitely say there could be a multiple stages can be added in between. Yes, but this is the bare minimum that you should have in your CI. And after that, let's say when we are talking about deploying or anything, that could be a part of continuous delivery or the deployment. So till here, everyone, I'm assuming if somebody is having any question, so feel free to ask. I would love to answer those questions. And in case you don't have any, then that is really great. So this is the bare minimum, I'd say, on the CI side. So now again, if I'll go back to my slides, so if I talk about the basic one, so see, so in this slide, this is what we are covering, right? So we are saying, so there is a developers, those two developers are working on a repository. So basically they are checking the code to the source repository, where the CI server is there, where we are performing build, test, result, and after that, on the basis of result, whatever the result is, for example, you can say the notification thing will be coming to the developer. So for example, we can add, so let's say the build is failing, so how developer will know on that, right? So we have developed the mindset on that, like we will be sending a notification. Doesn't matter, like we are sending a notification on the Teams, or we are sending it on the Slack or email. People are using different tools on as per their requirements, but the bare minimum that the people will be using, or let's say the least people will be using, is these steps. Like people will be having a code checkout. After that, they'll be having a CI server where they'll be performing build, test, result, or whatever it is. So now this is the basic. But now if I talk about what I have done, or I'll say like what we have done as a OpsTree, so this is something that we are following with the basic level, I'd say. So if you'll see this pipeline, so this is also a CI pipeline. So as I was showing in the example on like what we created in the board, so that was also the CI pipeline, and the entire thing that we are seeing currently is also an example of CI pipeline. So if I'll explain this pipeline, so what exactly is doing. So as names are defining, so what we are doing, initializing the project parameters. After that, we are cloning it, right? After that, we are doing some kind of commit scanning, like something related to the commits, like if the commit is correct or not. After that, we are reading a meta information. That totally depends on the client side, but what anything could be the use case for this client, right? And after that, we are building the code, right? So we are using parallel jobs here. So I don't want to go inside that concept, but for the, like, if I'll show you the 30K view, so basically CI, when we are talking about CI pipeline, so people are also concentrating on the time they want to spend on to build a CI pipeline. So for example, let's say there is a scenario, if I'll think about any scenario. So let's say I have to perform three kind of testing, right? So, and one has nothing to do with another. So those three, let's say those three are totally independent one, and nothing is changing in between. So definitely I can run them parallel. So for example, if I need to go from A, like two people are starting and we have to go A to D. Okay, so if I'm going one A to B, C, and then after that the D. So let's say C, and one person only needs to go to the C. So why would I like why would I waste time on when I can go on the parallel level as well, right? So that will definitely be saving time. So for example, in this example, if I'll see, so if let's say I have to build the image and I also have to do the code build as well. So there were two ways, right? So what was the way? Like build image, and after that there could be another stage, that is the code build. So it means if build image is taking 3 minutes and at the same time code build is taking 5 minutes, the total time spent will be 8 minutes, right? But here we can save some time by running them parallelly. So this thing we are doing in this pipeline. But yes, after that building the code, after that we are performing the static code analysis, right? So Docker linting we can check, or bug, whatever we want to check, like code quality, right? PMD scan, sonar scan, whatever we want to perform. After that we will be performing the code testing, like code coverage, unit testing, and after that analysis, security checks. So now a lot of people will debate, I can say, like why this credential scanning is not coming before build. So that is also a legitimate point. So yes, we can have a discussion on that if somebody is interested. But after that, in the end, what stage matters is the publishing the artifact. So if I relate it with my example that we just created, so yes, we are cloning the code checkout, and after that we are building the code. After that we are testing the code, and in the end we are publishing the artifact as well. So I hope this thing is clear to everyone, what exactly how generic CI pipeline should look like, or looking like right now, or like in future. So it totally depends. Again, I'd say, what is your use case? So I hope this thing is clear to everyone. Now, if I go back, go to the next slide that says why CI in the Terraform. Now the question comes, yes, we are talking about application code, right? That there it definitely makes sense. A lot of people, or I'd say like most of the people are already doing it, right? So now the question comes, why CI in the Terraform? So before going to that, I'd say like before understanding the CI in specific to Terraform, why first I would like to talk about so now in today's era, if I talk about, so people are moving to the infrastructure as a core term. So it has been famous from long time now. I would not say like this is a very new term. People have been using it from long now. So basically, what is this? So we are creating an infrastructure using the code manner, right? So we have a developers, or you can say we have a DevOps. Those are writing a Terraform code for us, and we are using it. So before, like I will not take example specific to Terraform, but if I talk about different things, like for example, if I talk about Azure, so they are using ARA templates as well, right? ARMs as well. So in we have in AWS cloud formation as well. So a lot of things are there, those we have been trying to achieve. Why Terraform takes extra hand, that is a different topic. But yes, because you can say like it works on, like it definitely works when we are working with the multi-cloud environments, and everywhere you just need to learn one language, that is HCL, and after that you will be good to go, right? So this is something that you can say that comes why exactly CI, why infrastructure, what exactly is the infrastructure as a code. So inside it, if I talk about, when we am talking about like in code, making a code to create an infrastructure, then when we were talking about why exactly Terraform, so we are getting option, like we are keeping it on the version control, right? So we are pushing data on, like we are keeping it, like, for example, on GitHub, GitLab, or Bitbucket, anywhere, wherever we want. And after that we are raising a pull request, we are doing everything that we were doing with our application code as well. So why cannot we have the CI with the Terraform as well? So if you will think about it, so for example, if I am a junior developer, let's say, okay, so as a junior developer, I'd say I have two cases. So I put, like I added some code, and after that I pushed, like I raised the MR for the master branch, that the code that where it is getting used. So it means some senior developer or senior DevOps has to test everything, whatever is I have made, changes I have made, and it has to be validated, right? So what if we have the as in the static, like in the application code, we have a lot of tools. Same thing is happening with the Terraform as well, because this is a open source tool. So definitely you have a lot of options in your bucket to perform a lot of things. So as the slide is saying, as a responsible DevOps, I have to ensure the quality of my code, right? So because I have to make sure like the code that I am writing is having a good quality, and whatever I'm writing is making sense. So this is the same like writing using a correct do not use the same code again and again, right? It is the same to follow this naming convention. It is same like do not allow any specific thing. For example, do not allow as a security group 0.0.0.0, or whatever we are doing as in the application, same thing can be considered in the Terraform code as well, right? So validation should be good or linting, but a lot of steps that we will be discussing in the future, but can go or can come inside this scenario. So if I talk about now, if I would like to compare, like it's the same thing that we are doing with the Terraform, right? The thing we were doing with the another thing, another client, that is like that the application code. So again, yes, we are performing the code checkout, right? After that, we are initializing it. We are validating the code if the code is static code validation, you can say. And after that, we are checking the formatting, because definitely it always matters a lot when you are if the format should be good whenever you are writing like after that, you can say we will be checking the linting. Like we will be discussing in deep on all these topics. So I would not be wasting your time. Like I do not want to repeat things. So yes, linting is one of them. Security, as a name explaining, or because security is a very important part as well, right? And after that, you can say the test cases. So as this is not the code or application code, so it won't be having a unit test here this way. But yes, test cases you can perform, like you can perform the testings. And after that, yes, you can plan like how this thing will look like in future. Like if I build it, so how this thing will look like. So in the plan that you can see that. So this is something that you can say the CI pipeline will look like for the Terraform. And again, I'll say like I definitely have like can add multiple more like more stages as well, or I can definitely remove some stages as well. So it is not like this is the thing that this is the only thing that one can have. But yeah, this is the example that we will be taking today. Okay. So now, like I would like to go back to Aastha, who will be discussing all these stages step by step and giving like the deep, like doing we are be doing the deep dive on that. Thank you.
Thanks, Mehul. Moving forward, okay, as Mehul explained, we have many stages in CI, and Terraform CI is no uh, apart from the CI we are doing with other codes. So here comes our first stage. We have already, when we enter into the Terraform, we have first thing we heard of is Terraform init. What is init? It's just like a short form to initialize. What does this do? Is it brings all the, it downloads all the things, all the modules you required for your code into your working directory from the remote. So why does we why this is the very first step? Because this if you're like a usual worker on Terraform, you might have seen that Terraform cannot move ahead without init. So uh, as a part of CI also, this is after taking out the code from the remote repository, we have put in it as our very first step. So very first step will just do the Terraform initialization. Moving up to the next step, validate. As we have our Terraform written into a code structure, so it should be syntactically valid. Every syntax should be valid, it should be intact, and the variable we have provided should be consistent, and there will should be an internal consistency. So and this so we are always asked why we have initialized before validation. Why not just validate the code and then download all the extra resources from the remote? So this is like a constraint on Terraform runs validate on initialized code only. And And although validate has nothing to do with the remote, it doesn't take any consideration of the existing state, but due to the Terraform constraint that it validates the code with all the modules being downloaded after being initialized and everything into the place, we are doing validate after the initialize. Then come the third step. Moving forward, Terraform formatting. What does formatting do? We have a simple command for Terraform formatting is Terraform FMT. What does this FMT command do is bring all your files, configuration files into a canonical format and style. So what is this? This makes your files or version or your code much readable. It brings a consistency throughout the code. Why do you need this? As a If you will see a code, you always want not only yourself but also or other to make it more readable. So you also want others to read it or go through it or understand it as fast as possible. So here comes the formatting, which change your styles, apply conical format. And also whenever Terraform does something or produce some files on its hand, it is very synonymous to the Terraform formatting. Moving forward to the Terraform lint. Okay, so what does linting do? We have heard linting in other coding language. We have heard linting into the other coding languages as well. What does it was doing there? It was picking out all the bugs, picking out all the petty mistakes we do, all the naming convention we have, we haven't not follow, or all the best practices which we have ignored, or like a simple syntax error to every small possible error, like illegal instance type or anything which we have like ignored on our end. So what does this linting do? It just pick out all those petty error on your end and informs you, okay, these are the things you have missed, or you have to take care of all these things before going forward. So this is what linting do. The very simple example of linting is like Terraform allows a hash formatted commenting in its code, whereas if you do commenting on your end and you have like double slashes, validate and other stages can pass it through, but linting will stop you to do such commenting on your end. And while going to linting is like a to enforce linting, we are using an external tool which is like Terraform linters, and it runs with a command tflint dot here symbolizes the working directory which we are working on. And if you want to have enforce this into the other directory, we have to specify that very specific directory. And this is the link to the GitHub account of the Terraform linters. If you will go inside this, it has all the knowledge on the TF lint, what kind of linting they are enforcing on our code. They have some of the default linters which are already enabled, and some we have to enable by ourselves. While moving forward, we have to look all the linters and see whether this is applicable or our end with, or we want to enforce this into our code or not. So that's the very scenario where we enforce linting. Now, moving on to the next, security. So, as Mehul stated before, that we run some stages into parallel stages to save the times into the CI. So, while discussing the security and lending, that came out to our mind, why not put security in parallel to the lending? Then we look into the definition. So, what does security enforce here? It checks for sensitive data inclusion. Like if you have a virtual machine and you have no password encryption on it, security will point it out. And where we want to do this, do we want to go it along with lending, or do we want to go it after lending? That's a very debatable topic. For now, we, after putting a lot of mind and energy inside it, we have thought of putting it after lending, so that we have a set of code where we have all the anomalies already being figured out by linter. After that, we have like a perfect readable code with no bugs, no extra errors, no formatting mistakes. Then we are ready to have to apply like a security thing on it. There are multiple tools in market to check the Terraform security. Like we have mentioned a few of them here. We have TFSec, Checkroff, Terrascan. They are doing more or less the same work. Here we are using TFSec, and it has a simple command. It comes with a simple installation steps. You can just install it with some Python, or if you are using Mac system with some brew commands. Simple installation, and it goes by TFSec. Okay, moving on to the next part, testing. Okay, now every coder in the outside world is testing. They're testing their programming language, whether it be Java or some other thing. But does Terraform? This sounds very awkward. That how can we test Terraform code? Terraform is will testing Terraform code will acquire like spinning up a whole environment, and that's like the deployment itself. How we are going to do testing around the Terraform code? So in Terraform code, we don't do like a pure unit testing, because that's not possible here, because again we cannot define the unit. For a person, a unit can be as small as a security group applied on a virtual machine, or a virtual, for other it can be a virtual machine in initialization itself. So in Terraform, the test cases is like a mixture of unit testing and a integration testing with the external system. We have like many tools in the market which goes around Terraform testing. Some of them are like Terra Test and Terra Kitchen. And we have some other thing also like Terraform compliance, which is more of behavior driven development testing, where we get whole the things into our account, what we are testing around, and uh, what what's need to be tested, and it gives a like a whole, like what we achieve in Terraform plan, a whole console output, where the developer or the DevOps person and sit and figure out, okay, whether we need this to be deployed, or this is the behavior which we exactly need on our side, and then they later can move on to the deployment or to the planning state, not the deployment. This is more concentrating on CI. Now let's move to our final CI stage, which is like planning. Very um a step earlier where we go with the deployment. So, uh, Terraform plan, what does this do? This is like a final plan, what we are going to have our infrastructure look like. We all learn, most of us have already executed this Terraform plan, and we already know that it gives a big console output which have all the stages which it's going to do, how it's going to apply everything, and most probably, since we have already applied the CI over here, so your plan will look as good as a thumbs up. So you can go ahead, and you need now to figure out any anomaly at this stage. So like we don't want at this stage, that's why we have the whole CI concept, that at this stage nobody can stop us. Okay, let's read it out, and later we can move on to the CD stage. So moving forward, how we are going to take it, how we are going to apply it, we will have like a demo session with Mehul. Mehul, please take over.
Sure. Thank you so much. So basically, first of all, I would like to thank Asta. Actually, this was really great explanation on each of the topic that we covered. So I hope everyone is clear now, like on each the topic that where what we exactly will be going to do. But yes, while I'll be covering it again, like I'll be showing you in the demo, so I try to achieve the same thing from the same area. For example, I again try to repeat if that is required. So feel free to ask any question again, like in if you have any in your mind. Otherwise, we are good to go. And next, if I talk about, so first thing is if we are implementing the CI, so definitely we will be using some kind of platform, right? So when it comes to the platform, so we have a lot of example on that. So for example, you must have heard about Jenkins, right? You have heard about GitLab CI, GitHub Actions, Azure DevOps. Build Piper also is the new tool that is helping us to achieve the CI processes. So definitely all of these, if you are like everybody as a DevOps can explore, and if not already done, so definitely you should explore these. And for today's example, if I'll say, so we'll be using GitHub Actions on for us, and we'll be using GitHub this tool as a CI. So let me move to the repository which we are going to use in our, so so this is the code module, you can say, like this is the repository where we'll be performing entire our CI on the code and whatever we are doing. So if I'll show you, so this is something, is it is nothing but just Terraform module, like as we were mentioning, like as in OpsTree we are writing. So this is just one of the example of the module that we are performing. And if you want to explore, definitely you can go on that, and you can watch all the modules those we have already published on the and you can definitely feel free to raise the issues if you are facing any or anything you are doing. So let's, for one example, for example, this is the repository where we are trying to create a virtual network for our scenario, right? So if I'll show you, so first thing that I'm hoping people are already knowing exactly what we are going to do in the actions. But if not, so I would like to give you the quick view what exactly we do in the actions on the GitHub. So basically this is nothing but just update, you say like this is the pipeline that you can achieve. I'll show you how to write the code, but for now, to understand, you can just click on new workflow, and after that GitHub has also explored a lot of things on that. So they will be giving you this, like if you will just do the configure, so automatically they'll be helping you with most of the things already here, right? So but for our environment, like for our use case, we created our own. But definitely for the starter, you can go, like if you will see, so what they are doing, they are checking out the code, entire code. After that they are doing a setup, and after that they are Terraform, they are setting up and in it and everything, right? So it is not like you cannot do it, you can do with the help of this thing as well. But for our scenario, what we will be discussing, we will be we have created our own pipeline. So if I'll show you here, so this is where you keep it. So for example, whenever you click on new workflow, so definitely you will get this option, like .github directory gets created, and after that in the workflow section you will be getting it. Okay, so inside it, if I'll open it, so yes, this is Terraform CI. So this is something that we have given the name, and here I have defined on the push, all push. Actually this will not make much more sense to you, but for now, let's just, for we wanted to trigger every pipeline. But I'll say, like when we are talking about Terraform CI, then all push requests are not required, only pull requests to specific branch, let's say in the master or anything, uh, that will also only be required. Okay, so this thing is done, but other than that, like if I talk about how the job is working, so we can define the name, where we can give the name. So in like in the Jenkins, it also allows you to use the self-hosted agents as well. So in case you want to create your own, so if you are interested to see, so basically in the settings section, in this uh, in this action area, so you get the option to create your own runners as well. So if in case you want to do, so definitely, like we have created one, so you can use, like this is connected, but in case you want to create more, definitely you can go with that. Okay, so we are also using our own So after that, we can say we are doing checkout, and after that, we are just because this is our module. The way we are following it is, let me show you again this thing as well. So we for the testing purpose, we create the example directory inside the code, and after that we perform everything. So for example, every module has this example, and inside it we are performing everything, right? So basically in this we perform whatever we are trying to achieve. So this thing we are doing, check out, and after that we are performing the formatting that we were talking about, Terraform format. After that, we are validating the code. After that, we are performing the linting. So as we are using our self-hosted agent, so because we have already installed this on the system, right? So I'll be coming to that, how the linting is getting performed and everything. But after that, like we wanted to give you the multiple scenarios. So for example, if you are installing it using Docker, so we installed the security tool using Docker. So there we took the example of the how can you use the container as well. So I'll be sharing this link of the repository with the team so that everyone can access this CI pipeline, and you can explore how much, like what, like that, like as per your use case, and you can use it depending on your use case, definitely. Okay, so if I talk about now, if let's say let's put something on somewhere so that this pipeline can get triggered. So for example, I'll say, so this is the branch, just note this branch is version 0.0.3. So for example, let's add something here, just adding this, adding black. So this is just, I'm going to trigger the pipeline, so I'm pushing it on this branch. So what will happen? Let's watch this. See, so it has been triggered. So if I'll go to the action area, so see, so actions has been triggered. So if you will see, so these are two stages that we have added, two jobs. So one job is will run first and it failed. So let's see what was the reason. So if you will notice, so validate has passed, but if you will see, so a lot of errors we have got in the linting area. So what kind of error if I talk about? So see, single line comment should be begin with this hash. So if you will see in the code, as I was taking the example, so what is happening in this main.tf? See, so we have, they are saying in the linting they have performed like in Terraform, as mentioned by Aastha as well, you cannot have for the single line, you should not have this thing. So in the validate we are not picking it, but it is throwing error on this scenario, right? And after that, if I look for the another error, so empty description. So for example, we just wanted to take the example, that's why we put this buggy code here, not the buggy, I'll say, like in validate nothing is happening. So if you are running a basic Terraform code like Terraform stages, so you will never get it. But for here you will see, if you will see, so here we just put the default, but what standard says, you should have at least mentioned the description and the type as well. So everything is getting error. Like just to avoid this thing, what people do usually, they are adding just blank lines as a description, but it is showing error on that level as well. So if you will notice in the errors, so you will see each and everything whatever we are getting, we will be getting here only. So if I'll show you in the tf lint, so in here everything is there. Like for example, if you want to explore, we have already shared this link as well. So in the docs, if you will go, and in the docs you will say, like in the rules level, so you can have all of them. So by default these are enable, but you can enable them by adding a file. Everything is mentioned, well documented, so you can check that. And we have implemented few more as per our use case. So this is for the generic one. Now the question comes, what about Azure specific? So yes, that is also getting provided. So if you will go here, and for that you have to like I'll not be covering that, but yes, you can say on that, like in the linters level, you can have the plugins like AWS or the Azure RM, and on the basis of that only you can perform much further on that. Okay, and if I go to the next stage, if I'll say, like let's say let's fix this. So for that, what we have done, if I'll go to the version 4, so let me check. So because there we are not having var.tf, so that's why it was giving error. See, so here only main.tf is there. So let's update this. So this time it got triggered on the different branch, right? And this time it should get completed if everything goes well. See, first stage completed. And after that, once this one is done, then this security scan is getting performed, right? So it means everything is working as expected, right? So it means like format validate, after that the linting. So in the linting it says like if you will see the output, so it's saying no, like no output, it means no error. And after that in the security scan as well, if you will see, so in the security scan also you will see like like everything you will see like nothing got found, caught up. So for example, now if I take the example of the this tfsec that we were talking about for the security, so basically this is the tool that will help you find out the security related bugs. So for example, like I have taken one example on my code level. So let me add that code just to show you, just because in this module we are not using it, so that's why I took the another example. Let me add it on this slide. Just give me a moment. Let me go to the code and go to this branch, version 004. After that, I would like to go on this example. And if I'll go inside it and go to the edit, and if I'll add in the end this, just what I did, I didn't do anything specific. I just added a code for creating a subnet resource. And after that, because we wanted to create a VM, so in this what we are doing kind of a security breach by saying disable password authentication. And this is just like kind of a crime if you will think about as like a security level, or you can say as a DevOps or DevSecOps, because you cannot you should not disable the password authentication if you are using only the password, right? So this, it means this is not correct as per the security level, right? So if I'll do adding okay, so if I'll push this, let's see if the pipeline is getting triggered. It should actually, yep, it got triggered. If you will see, see, so everything is done. So linting did not catch it, right? Because there is no issue with the linting. Everything is working as expected and no output. But if we'll see in the security level, let's see on the security level, it caught it, because it is saying this thing is the error. And the boolean is this. So using password authentication is less secure, then SSH key may result the compromised servers. So it means it is also at the same time taking care of the security purpose as well. So I hope like so this is something that we are achieving. So with the CI pipeline, I hope this thing is clear to everyone. So in case if you want to see what exactly we are doing on like on the server level as well, so I can share that as well. For example, so let me share my dark screen as well, just to show you what exactly we are doing on the terminal. Okay, so basically let me know if my terminal is visible. So this is the instance that we have created. So here we have the action runner, like I was saying, in for the action to run the GitHub actions. And after that we are creating a folder. So basically when we were saying like how can I enable the rule or anything that I wanted to add, so basically you need to create this tflint .xcl. Okay, so inside it you can define everything. So for example, I want to use Azure, so I can define the plugin on that. And after that, what all rules I want to enable, or if I, let's say, I want to disable few rules, so I can set them as a false thing. So we can say false, false, and it means it will not pick these modules. So this is all that you need to know on, like, on setting up and everything. You can definitely go with the documentation, and we can talk about it definitely. But by and like this is all you can say from the CI pipeline. So is, does anyone has any question on that? Like, is it clear? Is it making sense to all of you? And if you have any questions, so feel free to raise them on the chat box. And now it's time for the quick tour of the Whizlabs. So I would like to stop share my screen, and over to you, man.
Hello everyone. Let me share my screen. Yes, I hope you all can see my screen. So myself, Mayank, I'm here to demonstrate labs part which Whizlabs are providing. So this is the link where you can find all the labs, AWS related labs, and these are categorized based on the certifications. So for AWS, we have 200 plus labs, and same with the Azure and GCP also. We have also started for Terraform. There are 6 labs that we have created. So let's have a look what the labs provide. This is the home page. So let us go in one of the certification. Let's go in Solution Architect Associate. So this UI, this play.whizlabs.com, it's going to be updated where you can find the labs so that you can directly go to that certification and perform the labs, because from here we can't start the labs. We have to go in the certifications, and here few of them might be using the Whizlabs, but few of them are new. So for them, this lab section, Whizlab is providing free of cost. Like if you purchase either practice test or video course, you will have the access for labs. So this is the certification for solution architect. So this many labs you get, you can perform them. And here it's given that for each labs, 10 credit points will be deducted. And total we are giving 1000 points. So it's more than enough for to practice this all the labs. So only solution architect contains 70 labs. Okay. So let's see one of the free labs. Free labs means you all can check it if you are not purchased anything also. Let's attempt the third one, introduction to EC2. So this is the window. So in this, if you're performing these labs, you don't have to give any money or any credit card details or anything like that. You have only just to perform this. So here we can start the lab. So I am username, this password, access key ID, secret access key. This all things are given. You only have to follow these instructions. Instructions in this window. Architecture details, all things are given. So lab steps are given. Start the lab. Similarly, you only just have to see and perform this. Open console. Yes. There we have to paste this username and all. this region selection, this account creation. It is randomly giving you one Whizlabs area. Okay, you just have to perform the task, practice them. What is given in the instructions, like launching an EC2 instance. Okay, so these are the steps. Each and every step you have to configure security group, click tags, you have to skip few things, like all these things are available. So you all might be knowing this. This is the basic thing, like how to create instance and what are its configuration details and all. So you only have to just follow this instruction, and these things also, what we have to give in metadata, user data, all things are given. And at the end, Whizlab also provide you to test whether you have passed or failed, whether you have completed all the tasks or not. Like we have to click on validate. Till now I haven't created anything, so it will show failed status, and with that it will tell also about the configuration, whether you have created EC2, whether you have enabled the SSH port, like every minute details it will tell. So I didn't create anything, so it will give failed message. So this way you can perform the lab, and once you complete, it will end. If you don't click on the end lab, if you click this cancel button on the tab, it will automatically remove all the services which you have created. Okay, so I hope this lab section is will inspire you to practice and proceed with your certifications. So thank you, and over to Mehul and Aastha.
Thank you, Mayank. So I would like to again share my screen. Let's start again. So basically, what we are going to do now is, is my screen visible to all?
Yes, Mehul.
Perfect. So basically, now it's time for the Q&A section. So basically, we have prepared a very small Q&A for everyone. So there will be a 5 question, and on that there will be a 5 winners on that. And according to that, will be Sneha. Would you like to talk about it a bit, and then we can start?
Sure, Mehul. So I would like to first of all tell all the attendees that we know there are a lot of questions in the Q&A section, and we will come to those after this quiz is over. So uh, please wait for that part. Okay, now for this particular quiz, since you all have attended this session, and I'm sure you all got to learn a lot. So there will be 5 questions, and you all have to answer in the Q&A section, not in the chat box. Please note that. So when you answer in the Q&A section, these are multiple choice questions, and there will be 5 winners. So it is like a fastest finger first kind of quiz, where for each question, whoever answers first will be given the prize. And what will be the prize? What will be the prize for each winner? You will be allowed to choose your own course or practice test series from the Whizlabs platform, and we will be providing you that. For the other participants, there are some special discount codes we have for all of you. So for purchasing our individual courses or practice tests, there is a 40% discount for all of you. And if you are interested in purchasing the subscription, with which you will be able to the entire training library, all the practice tests, all the video courses, and 1,000+ hands-on labs from Whizlabs. So if you're interested in getting the subscription, there is a 20% off on that as well. So yes, all the best to all of you. And Mehul, please proceed with the quiz. And guys, when you are answering, for example, for question 1, if the answer is option A, you can type in this format 1A, so that we know which question you are answering for. Okay, all the best to everyone.
Okay, so should we start?
Yes, please.
Thank you. So the first question is, which language we use in Terraform? So is it Groovy, HCL, or Go?
Some participants are still using the chat box. Please prefer the Q&A section. There are two different things over Zoom. There is a separate section called Q&A, which is there in your footer. Please answer there, not in the chat box.
So I hope like everybody has answered to that question. So should we move to the next one?
Yes, I think we can.
Sure, thank you. Okay, so which stage is not a part of CI process? Security scans, code checkout, or code deployment?
There are a lot of answers. Good to see that people are excited to win the prize.
Should we move to the third one?
Yeah, yes, we can.
Okay. So which tool we use to perform security scans? So is it TFSec, TFLint, or Atlantis? Uh, so should we move to the next one? I hope everybody has answered the question. So the next question is, which tool we cannot use for CI? Spinnaker, Jenkins, or GitHub? Okay, I hope everybody has answered already. So let's move to the another one. The last question is, which process comes next after completion of the CI process? So is it continuous delivery? Is it continuous deployment? Or is it both like anyone one of them, or none of the above? So there are four options for this question. So you can choose any. So I hope everyone has answered these questions. So that was all from our side. And again, yeah, so I can see a lot of questions. I'll try to answer, like we'll be trying to answer all of them now. So thank you so much, everyone, again.
Mehul, would you like to disclose the answers for the quiz first?
Sure, sure, definitely. Let me share again then.
Yeah.
Okay. So the answer for this question is, I hope everyone has answered it. So this is HCL language, basically HashiCorp. This is developed by HashiCorp. So this is the language that we are using in the Terraform. Second question is, which stage is not the part of a CI process? So basically, this is a code deployment, right? So we do not deploy code while doing the continuous integration. That is a part of continuous deployment, right? So next thing is which tool we use to perform the security checks. So as name is explaining, that is a TF-sec. So TF lint we use for the linting, and Atlantis is a tool that we use for the CD process. So that is really a very, like, if you really want to explore CD process, so definitely Atlantis can be the one. So that gets integrated with the GitHub or whatever version control you are using, and on the basis of that it gets start, like on their level, on that level, on the PR level also you can see the results. So but for this answer, this is a TF-sec. Next thing is, which tool can we cannot use for CI? So Jenkins, yes, we use. GitHub Actions, yes, GitHub we use for it, like we were taking the example. So only left option is the Spinnaker. So Spinnaker is the tool that we use for the CD only. Okay. And next thing is, which process comes next after the CI process? So there were options like delivery and the deployment. So actually these are both, like any one from them can come, like it could be a delivery or continuous delivery, or it can be a continuous deployment as well. So the answer will be C. Both can come. Okay, thank you. Any question on them? If anyone has any, so definitely feel free to ask.
Great. I think Mehul, now you'll be taking the questions in the Q&A.
Sure, sure, sure. We'll be taking it. So I'll be responding on chat only.
No, I mean, you can read the questions and answer them live.
Okay, sure. So let's see. So it's possible to share the session post live. Yes, like it is possible. Yeah, actually, like it will be on the YouTube. On how many? So yes, so as you were asking, like how it is related to the CD, I think Tosin was asking this question, like how is it related to the CD? So I don't know, like on which context you ask this, but I'd say this is something like if you are asking on how the CI will go next level to the CD. So as I mentioned, there are tools for the CD as well. So for example, once the Terraform plan is done, now the next thing is you want to compare things on the tool level as well. So for example, you are using like the major, like, because I am also using the Atlantis, so that's why I'm relating more on that. So basically what they do, so they have kind of the binary, you can say, they have created a tool on that. So basically what they are doing, they are running container inside them, or basically when they are running a Terraform plan, whenever you are raising a MR request, and they are showing you the output, entire output on your screen on the GitHub level only, as just hit by hitting the API of the GitHub or any version control that you are using. So this is how you can relate it on the CD process as well. Okay, I hope this answers your question, right, Terraform? So actually, there is no comparison between. So actually, this is from anonymous. So I'm answering this. Not be able to take the name, but why Terraform instead of MS Azure DevOps? Okay, so there is no comparison in between Azure DevOps and Terraform. Maybe you were talking about the ARM templates. So the difference, there is no like both can be used to build an infrastructure as a code. They both have their limitations and the advantages. But why people are moving with the Terraform? Because Terraform Okay, so because Terraform is not like specific for one environment. So, for example, if I talk about let's say for now I'm just using, like, there is a possibility like I'll only use Azure environment in my entire life. So yes, I can go with the ARM as well because it doesn't matter. But let's say you are a DevOps engineer or you have two clients, or doesn't matter if you talking like your client is using multi-cloud. So it means for the AWS or for the GCP, you have to learn their own languages as well, right? So it means you at the same time you have to learn three languages. So why would I go with that when I can just learn the HCL with the Terraform and I can use the same code? Like, just there are, yeah, few differences like plugins, or you can say like the resource names are different. But in the end, the formatting, if I talk about the tools I'm talking about, will always remain the same. So I need not to build another new thing, another CI pipeline for my use case, because the same pipeline will work with AWS and the same pipeline will work with the other like Azure or GCP as well. I hope this answers your question. Next thing is infrastructure to production. Uh, I'm actually, Anil, I'm not able to understand. Can you please how to deploy a dev slash okay pre-prod infrastructure to production? So we never do like we never deploy the infrastructure to another place. So basically, like let me rephrase your question on that. I'll try. Maybe I'm let me know like if I'm understanding this question correctly or not. But the point is, when you are saying I'm creating a pre-prod infrastructure or I'm creating a production infrastructure. So what does that mean? When I am talking about it, so I mean is comparison in between cost, because I will never compromise with the security. Both times I'll be having a good security, right? But what difference I can make is, for example, if I'm using let's say 2 core CPUs on my non-prod, but in production I will not be using that, right? Or another example is if in my non-prod I'm using spot instances, right? But in production I will not go with the spot instance level, right? So at least like I'll be having a on-demand instances. So that's why you can say, so what I'll do, I need to change few values there. I have to change, for example, I created a variable, let's saying instance type or virtual machine type. So in if I'm using it for the non-prod, so I'll put the value of, for example, if I take the example in AWS terms, so I'll put the value T2 medium. And if I'm going with the production one, so I'll say T2 large. So it is in the end all the matter, all the like discussion of the cost analysis as well. So for example, if in production I'm creating 5 instances, but in dev I do not have that number of traffic, right? So why would I create 5 instances with that much configuration? Why would I pay extra for that? So I can create a small number of instances there. So this is something that you can comparison in between. I hope, Anil, this answers your question. We are planning to migrate React.js application to cloud app from. So actually, this is a different topic. I don't know like how your communication was happening earlier. So I this is not related to topic, but yeah, I would like to discuss in case in some time else we can discuss this thing. But this is not I cannot comment on that like how this thing can communicate. I don't know what exactly your infrastructure is working, how earlier it was communicating. So on the basis of that, yes, we can decide. Like for example, if you are doing it with the private one, so you can perform the NATs, or you have to allow the IPs and everything. So I hope like I know like this is not the exact answer to your question, but this is something like this is a very large topic. So I don't think like
Sorry to interrupt.
I can
Can
give.
you recite the question as well so others are aware of what we are answering to?
Thank you. I hope after that we only have the option. So I think we have given answers to all of the questions.
Mehul, if you
So,
scroll down, then there are some fresh questions as well after the quiz.
okay, sure. I'm just calling it.
And just a note, please read the questions because not everyone can see other people's questions.
Okay, sure, definitely. So, Jami Shah, you're like, what is the best practice, best strategy to break into the DevOps? Like, what should we start with? Project wise, should I start with the basic pipeline project on GitHub or go for the tools individually? So for that I'll say like again like so I can say that on that I'd say like first you should concentrate on your Linux skills, and after that only you should try so don't go for all the tools, go step by step. This is how we all start. So if you really want to become some better in something, so definitely you should do one by one, and once you move to next, make sure the last one you are not missing anything. So this is the key. Just hypothetical answer, I'm not sure, like it totally depends on different use cases. Yes, you can, Jemmy. Again, can you configure same environment for different cloud deployments? Actually, I'm not able to understand this question, but what I'm observing, like same environment on different cloud providers. So yes, you can. Actually, the same code will not be used. You have to. Yeah, I'll say like no, because it is possible, but you have to rewrite the code again for different cloud level, because there you will be changing the plugin name, provider name, sorry, and after that you will be changing the resource types as well. So for example, in AWS we call it AWS underscore instance, and in Azure we call it Azure RM underscore virtual machine, I suppose. So these like syntax is totally different. So yes, you have to take care. It goes for different. Yes, definitely. Totally depends. So yes. So after that, you added like where was that? Actually, this question went, yeah, here. So Jamisha, you mentioned like I mean with Git repo for different environments. Right? Yes, you can do it. Like this is called people call it GitOps. Usually they are going with that name. So basically, what they are doing for different environments, they are using a branching strategy. So for example, I have a three environment. Okay, so I'll say like first one is the master or main branch, where I'm using having a only production code. After that, there is another branch with the name of UAT, where I will have the code for the UAT. Another, I have a dev, or after that we can have a quick fix or anything versioning or releases on the releases basis. So definitely yes, you can do it.
Okay.
I hope this answers what is the uh, for main. So actually, what somebody was asking about the BDD testing tool. So basically, I'll say for that, I think we have compliance. Terraform compliance is the tool. Asta, would you like to talk about something on the BDD testing and the tools that we are talking about?
Yeah.
The compliance one.
It's a Terraform compliance tool. So what does this BDD texting means? It's like behavior driven testing, how we want to see our environment as exactly to look like. So what does this do? This compliance tool will go across your Terraform code and analyze what things you have done and what will your environment exactly look like. Then you can look into it. It just gives you a whole view. It's not like a Terraform plan view, but much similar to it, with all the imposing all the negative and positive points you have in your infrastructure, and what your behavior of the infrastructure is going to look like. And from there, you can depict whether you want to go ahead or not. So it's Terraform compliance. We can write. Okay, we will add it in a slide as well. Terraform compliance. This is the direct search, kind of direct search. We have any other
Okay.
question?
No, I'll add in the future. No problem.
Mehul and Aastha. And So all the attendees, we will be sharing the slides as well as the recording with all of you. And some of you are asking for the GitHub link. So yes, that will also be there in the email that we'll be sending within the next 24 hours. And about the quiz winners, yes, those will be announced as well on our social media channels. So if you're not following us yet, please do. You can follow us on any platform, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram. So yes, we'll be announcing the winners over there, and you'll also get an email from us. So thank you so much everyone for joining, and we'll click a quick picture with all of you. So if you are interested in being part of this picture, you can raise your hand and we'll promote you to panelists so that you can switch on your camera. Okay. Wow, a lot of people interested. Yes, we are promoting you to panelists. I would also like to give a quick shout out to the OpsTree Solutions team for having Aastha and Mehul collaborate with us for this webinar. And guys, do check out their website. They are doing amazing work, and they are cloud and DevSecOps engineering company and doing some brilliant work. So do check them out. And thank you OpsTree team for collaborating with us for this webinar. Okay. I think majority of the audience is shy with the camera. Only few people opt for switching on their videos. That's okay. Okay, Nilong has not yet switched on his video. Can you do that, please? Click a quick picture. Nilong, are you able to switch on? Okay, no problem. Yes, great. Okay, so I hope you all are ready with your poses, because this picture we'll add on our social media post. So, okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye everyone. You'll be notified for our next webinar, and we'll see you again. Thank you. Have a great week.
Have a great. It was really informative.